Traditional cochinita pibil is a Mexican dish made by marinating a whole suckling pig in bitter orange juice and a blend of warm spices overnight. And then the pig is wrapped in banana leaves and slowly pit roasted.
And it is delicious.
For sure.
But many of us don't have a pit in our backyard, much less can easily get our hands on a suckling pig or banana leaves. So we wanted to find an easier way to make this authentic Mexican dish.
All right.
And so a lot of recipes we found really did not use suckling pig, the more modern recipes. And they used different cuts, like a pork loin, or some use spare ribs. But we found that the pork shoulder, also known as the pork butt, is really the best. Here we have a 3-pound boneless pork butt. And we're gonna cut it down into 1-inch cubes and get rid of some of that excess fat that's on the inside. You wanna leave a little fat, because that fat is flavor. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna leave the meat here and start building a good base of flavor that cochinita pibil is known for. I have 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. It's nice and hot, and you can see it sort of shimmering on the surface. So I'm gonna add to the pot 1 chopped onion. We're just gonna let this cook until it softens, and that takes about 5 minutes. You can see those onions are nicely softened and starting to get a little golden. So now we're gonna add some of the classic flavorings in a cochinita pibil. That was 3 cloves of minced garlic. And now some of the warm spices that are also traditional. This is a teaspoon of ground cumin, teaspoon of oregano. Look how beautiful that oregano is.
That's beautiful
yeah,
oregano.
You can see whole leaves in there.
Mine looks like old grass clippings.
This is half a teaspoon of ground allspice. Little cinnamon, half a teaspoon of cinnamon. We're gonna let this cook for about 30 seconds to really let those spices bloom.
And that quick blooming in oil is always a good idea anytime that you're adding spices to the pot. Really enhances their flavor.
And so now we're gonna add a replacement for annatto. So annatto are those little seeds often used in Mexican cooking. They have an earthy flavor and really lend a rosy color to dishes, but they can be hard to find. So instead, we're using some tomato paste. This is the 1/3 of a cup. We're gonna cook this in the pot till it really starts to brown. And that takes about 45 seconds. You can see that fond building up on the bottom of the pot from that tomato paste. You wanna keep stirring it so it doesn't burn. In goes the water. So this is 1½ cups of water. You start scraping up all that flavor off the bottom of the pot.
That's good. It stops the cooking there. A minute ago, I didn't think it could smell any better. It's smelling even better.
So as you mentioned earlier, usually the juice of bitter oranges is included in this dish. Again, hard to get your hands on, but don't worry. We're gonna use some orange juice concentrate. This is a 1/4 cup. So we're gonna add that along with a little vinegar. This is 2 tablespoons of distilled white vinegar. Stir that right in. We're also gonna add a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. This is 1½ tablespoons of Worcestershire. So now we're gonna add not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 bay leaves. We found that the annatto, we were missing a little of that flavor. It has a very bay leaf-like flavor, so bay leaves were a great substitute.
Interesting.
A little salt. This is 2 teaspoons of table salt. Last but not least, a little pepper. That's a teaspoon of black pepper. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, time to add the pork to our pot. So you notice we didn't brown the meat before we made the sauce, which is traditional for a braise. What we're gonna do instead is cook this uncovered in the oven. And as the sauce reduces, the meat's gonna brown. I'm just gonna bring this up to a simmer.
So cochinita means little pig, and pibil is about the cooking method. The underground ovens where pit cooking happened were known to the Mayans as pib. So the dishes prepared in them were called pibil.
Unfortunately, we don't have a pib in this kitchen, but we do have an oven, and that even heat will help cook this meat through nice and evenly till it's nice and tender. It takes about 2 hours, 300-degree oven. I'm gonna go in there every once in a while and give it a good stir.
Sounds good.
Time to make some toppings for our tacos.
Sounds good. So we're not going pre-made stuff. We're making everything from scratch.
You know it. We're gonna start with some pickled onions, and they're very easy to make. Here I have 1 small red onion, and I'm just gonna slice it thinly. I'm gonna cut off the tip and the root, take off this papery outer skin. Now we're just gonna slice it thinly from pole to pole. The layers are curved, so I'm gonna curve my knife as I chop along. There's 1 thinly sliced onion. And in this saucepan, I have 1 cup of white distilled vinegar. To that, I'm gonna add a little sugar. This is the 1/3 of a cup of white sugar.
Sweet and sour.
And a little salt. This is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just gonna bring this to a boil to dissolve that salt and sugar. You can see all that is dissolved. I'm just gonna pour this boiling mixture over the onions. I'm gonna cover this with plastic wrap, help trap some of that steam and help those onions soften. And voila, pickled onions. They just need to sit here for about 30 minutes. We're also gonna make, get this, our own habanero sauce. The base is just water, so that's a cup of water. 1 chopped tomato and 1 chopped carrot. You can add a whole habanero, but for us, I'm just doing half to get started. I took the seeds out too, so it's not gonna knock our head off. Now we're gonna add a little onion. That's a 1/4 cup of chopped onion, 1 garlic clove, and just a little bit of salt. This is half a teaspoon. So we're just gonna bring this to a simmer and cook it for about 10 minutes until those carrots are good and tender. I simmered this, then let it cool for about 5 minutes, and now we're gonna blend her up. We're gonna add our acids right at the end, keep that nice fresh flavor. And for acid, I'm talking about a tablespoon of white vinegar, 1½ teaspoons of fresh lime juice, and we're gonna blend this until it's nice and smooth. All right, let's take a good look.
Ooh. Steamy.
Very spicy.
Beautiful color.
Isn't that pretty? How easy was that? Here, have a little taste. We're gonna have to season it with salt and pepper. Just a little bit. Oh, isn't that good?
That is really good.
Isn't that amazing? So much better than what you could find at the store. Has that fresh flavor of the habanero that's nice and bright, but then the vegetables add sort of a sweet, grassy flavor.
It's definitely, there's some heat in there. I'm glad you only added a half of a habanero.
Right? Oh, doesn't that smell good?
That is a most excellent pibil.
Bubbling around the top, and you can see how well browned the meat got in the oven since the pot was uncovered.
And that is without any prior browning. Love it, time saver.
Now the fun part, bay leaf watch. There were 5 of them in there, so we gotta get 5 of them out before we start mashing that meat. Now the best part of this is how easy it is to turn these cubes of meat into shreds with a potato masher. Just go in there.
I was going to use my teeth.
And they're so tender, you can see they just mush right down into nice, tender shreds of pork.
Incredibly tender.
So we're gonna put this back over medium-low heat and cook it for just a couple minutes until the sauce really coats all that meat and is reduced down. You can see that little bit of liquid on the edge. That's just a little bit of that pork fat. You don't want to lose that. That's where all the flavor is. Because if you think about all those spices, they're fat soluble, so their flavor is in that fat. We're just gonna set this aside while we toast up some tortillas. Put them right on the gas burners. I like to get a little bit of char around the edge.
And all at once you can smell toasted corn. Oh yeah.
One last addition to our pork to really bring out some fresh flavor, and that is 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. We're just gonna stir this in. Oh, all right, I'm not gonna make you wait any longer.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Start with 1?
Sure.
Oh, you got a nice little chunk of pork there.
Yes,
Love
I did.
that. So some of these pickled onions and some hot sauce.
Yes, please.
I'll just do a little,
Thank you.
because it's pretty spicy.
Yes, it is. Lime juice.
Thank you.
And we're keeping it simple today. We're not loading it with tons of things, so we can really taste that pork. Napkin for you.
Last but not least.
Now, I was going to say, do you do the head turned sideways?
Oh, that's good. Isn't that amazing? The pork has so much flavor.
The tomato paste doesn't taste like tomato paste. It actually tastes like it's charred tomato. So good. So the next time you're hankering for cochinita pibil, you can skip the taco truck and make your own at home. Start by braising savory pork butt with aromatics, warm spices, and orange juice concentrate for a boost of bright citrus. Simmer it all in the oven until the meat is fall apart tender, and then use a potato masher to quickly shred it. Serve with a quick condiment of homemade pickled red onions and a spicy habanero sauce, and there you have it from Cook's Country. Savory, succulent, citrus-braised pork tacos, and no taco truck required.
Beep, 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 beep.
Thanks for watching Cook's Country from America's Test Kitchen. So what'd you think?
Leave a comment and let us know which recipes you're excited to make, or just say hi.
Now you can find links to today's recipes and reviews in the video description.
And don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
See you later.
Alligator.